All right, hello and welcome to this second webinar session of agent training. And this topic is all about hotels, finding, contracting, getting the best deals, managing rates, and also the bookings. Okay, once again, a disclaimer that we put at the top of every training that we do. The methods taught here have been learned from many years dealing with clients, customers, hotels, and agents. These have been proven to work, but not on their own. They do require a combination of good communication skills, self-motivation, activity, diligence, perseverance, industry knowledge, research, and last but not least, belief in what you're doing as well. So belief that you can solve a problem, and believing your customers are better off with your service, your technology, and your relationship with hotels, because that is how they benefit. Okay, very, very briefly, we're going to recap on lesson 1 and blend it into lesson 2. Events are your clients. So at this stage of training, we're going to assume that you understand pretty much how to go about finding your clients, who the clients are, and then how to connect with them. You've also got your documentation that's inside your order of operations that complements that. Next is to select the hotels and deciding which hotels, in fact, and how we're actually going to select them. Okay, so selecting hotels is very relevant to events. So groups, trade shows, exhibitions, meetings, conferences, companies, these are all different types of events. As we know, every one of those is different and they attract a different type of audience. Remember, we'll go through it in smaller detail. In the first session, we started talking about identifying and understanding the needs of each member within our ecosystem. And this is very relevant to the hotel sector as well. Understanding who the clients are and who their audience are really helps us define who the, I guess the events are, in a sense, who the hotels are that we're going to need to bring on to satisfy the clients, the guests as such. Okay, so the flow once again that we're following is we're selecting events, we're up to selecting hotels. So we've got the events, we're selecting hotels. Next session is going to be on creating the PBA to put it all together. We'll cover a little bit of that, but generally this is on selecting hotels. Okay, once again, I want to remind you to understand the Hotelstv ecosystem, because as I said, this is really important. So the events section, events, understanding who the event is, guests understanding what they want and what they need, hotels, what the hotels want and need as well, agents, and Hotelstv is important to the next section of what we're doing. Okay, finding hotels. The purpose is to find the hotels for the events. And that might seem easy enough, but as you'll see, it takes a little bit of thought. Now, why are the hotels second? Why do the events come first and the hotels come second? A lot of people come into this business thinking, no, I'll go and get the hotels first, and then I'll get the rates, and then I'll get the events next. It's not the way it works. Yes, you can try it, but if you've got rates, they're not necessarily relevant. And there is a high chance, if you can waive an exclusive agreement in front of the hotels, they will actually negotiate much harder for you and give you more deals and more added value, because they want anything that's exclusive. That's, as human beings, that's natural. It's called leverage. We use the leverage of an exclusivity agreement to get much better rates and negotiate much harder. If we go into a hotel without any exclusivity, we'll just get the same old best available rates that they give anyone. And that's not what we want. What we want is we want to use everything that we can possibly use to get that. And that's why hotels are second and the event and the client, and the exclusivity is actually first. Researching the event is really important at this point, because you want to know what is the likely audience that you're going to be dealing with, depending if it's a corporate event, and then we'll cover those things shortly, but it really does change things. I want you to think about it as well. Which hotels would be suitable, interesting, and exciting for guests? Don't just dump any old hotels. People are coming to you because you are the perceived local hotel booking expert. It's on the top of the screen. It's our mantra. We are the world's local hotel booking experts. So let's have some sort of selection process and think about which hotels are actually exciting and which hotels are going to tempt them. What's different, what's unique about this, which we can really entice these guests that are going to be viewing. Remember, these guests have got everything to choose from. They don't have to use the events and the event organizers platform. They don't have to come through and book with us. Okay, we've got to work a little bit for our money in this scenario. We've got to put something really selective and exciting there that that is going to be tempting for them. So this is something we have to really work with the hotels on as well. Location is the other thing. You know, where is it? What's around the venue? Think about all these things as you're thinking about selecting and finding the hotels that are going to be absolutely vital to the conversion to make you money. Okay, so what is the audience of the event? You could almost say, who is the audience of the event, but what as well? What is it? And remember the needs as well, when we think about needs of events and hotels and guests as well. What type of audiences? Is it a corporate audience, such as a meeting and a trade show and a company? Is it a wedding, which would tempt families in and more of a leisure guest? It's not a corporate thing. It's not a business meeting. So they want a different type of hotel. They want different facilities in the hotel. If you're a corporate meeting, you might want room service and breakout rooms and airport transfers and all these other things around the hotel. If you're a wedding, you might want swimming pools and kind of more leisure facilities, nice restaurant, things like that. If you're a group, maybe you want to all be together on the same floor, but you also want to have breakout areas. Maybe you're a gymnastics group and you're together staying in there, and you want a breakout area where you can train before you go off to the actual event and the venue. So all these things make a big difference. What if you're an individual just coming through, an FIT as they're called? So you've got to get used to the terminology. FIT is frequent independent travelers as well. So what is an FIT? So someone who just wants to travel and wants to stay in a hotel, they could be there for lots of different reasons. So they're not traveling as a group. So they might want a boutique hotel, something small and intimate, and so everything has a different audience that's attached to it. Booking organizers. Are you booking exhibitors? Are you booking attendees? So the organizers sometimes have their own staff that they want to accommodate in hotels around the event. And also the exhibitors. What about the people turning up to the event that are putting a stand up at the event? So some trade shows might have 200 to 300 exhibitors that pay a lot of money to put a stand up at an actual event. What about those people? What do they want? And how many people are traveling from that company that will need hotel accommodation? And what type of hotels do they need? And what location? Generally, they want to be quite close to the hotel, whereas maybe an FIT or someone attending the event, one of the attendees, it doesn't matter so much. They don't mind traveling. They're only going to turn up for 1 day or 2 days of the event. They're not there for every single day of the event. So you think about who your market is, who the audience is, because that's going to have some really relevant bearing on which hotels you're going to choose. And also how many people are going to be turning up. So that event, you might research and find out that last year, 2,000 people attended that event. How many bookings are generally going to come out of that? We always work on the potential is about 10% of an event. That's a guesstimate. That might vary, but that's what you should kind of prepare for. And when you talk to the hotels, it is what we call a guesstimate. It is a guess, but it is a guess based on knowledge and prior experience as well. All right. It's important for you to realize as well that some hotels do not accept groups, okay, because they're a bit concerned about whether they've got the facilities, if they upset other guests in the hotel. It could even be, everyone arriving for breakfast at the same time, these sorts of considerations that these hotels have. Often, this is why you cannot book groups using Booking.com and Expedia. And you must, even using travel agents, quite often you cannot book groups. A lot of travel agencies are not allowed to book groups because you need to deal with groups directly. And travel agents go through the GDS, the Global Distribution System. They go through a computer system which has rates already pre-negotiated inside them. Therefore, they can't just go and book 20 rooms because the hotels need to know who's going to arrive. They need to make sure they've got the facilities. They don't want to upset the other guests. As I said, they want to make sure they've got enough room in the dining room. They want to make sure they stagger people coming into the dining room. They may not have enough rooms in the hotel. This is the other thing you've got to think about as well, is that quite often if you're in a small or provincial area, such as one, give you an example, we're doing on a karate tournament or martial arts tournament at the moment, it's not in the center of a city, it's in a more regional town. Therefore, you've only got 2 or 3 popular hotels or hotels where they could actually accommodate 30, 40, 50 rooms if we were to book those. The other hotels that we've got to choose from in that location are actually boutique or 10 to 30, 40, 50 bedroom hotels. So we need to use some of those, but we're only going to be able to get an allocation of 5 rooms out of those particular hotels because they're just not big enough to allocate anymore. So we might end up having to use 10 hotels and get 5 rooms per 10 hotels. So we might accommodate 50 that way. So these are things that you kind of need to think about and do some research about what hotels are in the area, how many rooms they have, what type of facilities, and then really map it back to the event and try to have a bit of an idea what the demographic of the audience is that's actually going to be attending. Some hotels don't actually pay commission, so that's something you need to check out, and you can only check that out actually contacting the hotels. It's pretty rare, but it does actually happen, more so on the boutique level where the hotels feel that, they can just book it themselves. But most hotels, I would say over 90% would actually work on a commission basis. Not up to standard is something else that's may happen. You've got to ask yourself, would you stay there or would you put your family there? Or if someone asked you for a recommendation, would you put people in that hotel? Especially if you can't see that hotel, if you physically can't go and visit it and check it out, then check the web for credible reviews before you select hotels. TripAdvisor is okay. It's come under a lot of criticism for reviews. Reviews, I kind of use a mixture. I use ratings a lot. If something's had 300 or 400 ratings and it's got 4 or 5 on those ratings, then generally that could be pretty good. Because generally ratings take a bit of an average. An average is quite good. If you read individual comments, it's not always quite reflective of actually what the experience is. You're going to have to read a lot of comments, and I suggest you do it as well. You have to read a lot of comments to really get a balanced view of what's going on at that hotel. But just be very protective about your guests and kind of make sure that it's a place that you would stay at. Budget is fine. 2-star is fine. 3-star is fine. 4, 5-star, they're all fine. Everything is relative in its category. Sometimes the guests or the group or the clients only need 2 or 3 star. That's the budget. So that's absolutely fine, but just make sure they're the best budget choices in the category. You're not just going for anything. Research, knowledge is power. You know, you've got a whole internet full of opportunity. You've got YouTube, you've got Google, you've got social media. You can just stick the names of the hotels into these facilities that we have access to and really get a really good idea of what they're like. You can also discover new properties. Discovering is wonderful. You know, you can really come across some amazing new hotels that have just opened their doors, fantastic opportunities. These people are eager for business. They want to put their hotel on the map. They're so pleased to have an opportunity like this, being exclusive with a group or event, to get their name out, let alone get any bookings. You can really build a very strong relationship with those hotels by getting in early and really showing that you're keen to help them and keen to work with them. So I suggest you really do research and you find what we call gems. You know, this business was founded many years ago on finding really unique properties and unique things about those properties, and then shouting as loud as we could about them, and making sure people understood that we were so passionate that they had to stay there. They had to try this out and have this experience. And we want you to be this passionate when you go and find your hotels, because that resonates with the event. It gives more reason for people to come and book with you and trust your judgment, because you've actually found something that they wouldn't have found otherwise. And sometimes some of these properties don't put themselves directly on booking.com or Expedia or hotels.com because they don't want to be seen as a discounted hotel. They don't want to cheapen their brand. So they try and do everything they can to avoid going directly on some of these services. So really check that out. Research the event website. So you can see I'm using an example of an event we did in Singapore called the British Contact Lens Association. On the left, you can see their PBA, or private booking area, that we've created. And you can see the hotels and the venue and the maps around it. But before we selected these hotels, so all the red ones, this was a bit of a unique one where the green marker on the left-hand side represents the venue where the event is. There were not a lot of hotels to choose from around that area. Actually, one that was suitable. Everything else was east of that, in the more popular locations of Singapore. So needless to say, most of the bookings went into those 2 hotels that were closer, but we still gave people choice, because some people booked 4 and 5-star hotels that were in the middle because they had other things to do in Singapore, or perhaps they were extending their stay. Some of the stays ended up 5 to 7 nights at $400 to $500 a night in the middle of Singapore, but yet they were only going to spend 2 days at the conference that was actually there. So you've got to give hotel options that suit that, otherwise you're just going to miss out on potential bookings, and especially if they're 5-star accommodation. Now, this was a medical convention as a sector, so we did the research. We went onto their website, which is on the right-hand side of the page, and we read about it. We did some research, and we got an idea of past events as well. You know, what they did before, who arrived at that event. We went onto social media and had a look at the type of companies that were connected to them on social media. So we went onto Facebook and Twitter, and we could actually see who else was actually connected and viewing the BCLA's Facebook, social media pages. This is awesome background information to let us know what type of hotels we actually should be targeting and what type of customers actually we can be attracting and we're going to be getting, to make sure we've got the right product on there to maximize the bookings, maximize the commission, and give us a real, so we talk about leverage before, give us the leverage to then work with these hotels by dangling this carrot in front of these hotels to say, look, not only are we bringing this event, that's fine, but do you know who's attending this event? Do you know the companies that are going to be arriving that you're going to be putting your hotel in front of? You know, this is really, really valuable stuff. Give us a good rate. Give us some added value. We want upgrades. We want a bottle of wine in the room. We want all these sort of extra bits and pieces that we can negotiate in. Very, very important on the strength of the leverage of the audience. So know your audience. Now, you can go back to session 1 about who your client is and recruiting these events, and recruit also on the basis of research into those events. So if you want to maximize the revenue that you make from this business, then target the guests that are attending the events. And so you can go right back with your research to social media and right back to the actual website and really drill down into the membership base and the news sector to see who they're targeting. And that will give you a really good idea of the potential of that audience and that event to you in your pocket before you even go and spend any energy and time recruiting your events at the start. Very, very important. That's why what you'll hear through this training, research is your #1 tool to success with this business. Okay, so check all that out. All right, Google the venue. Really important. Your #1 step is Google the venue. Get familiar with what's around the venue. You might even live in this city and may not even know, you know, because you've not been in this business, you've not been looking for this before. Have a look at a Google map. It gives you all the information you need, what's nearby. It'll mark a few hotels. It won't necessarily give you at this stage, but it really gives you an idea of what attractions are in place, what the routes into there are, the transport situation, how accessible it is, how popular it is. So there's lots of things you can do with that. #2, Google Maps. So put into that Google map hotels near that venue. All right, you could even do it by event name if it comes up. If it's a popular event, it might still come up. But otherwise, the venue's fine. Hotels near. And what happens is Google has gone and looked through all their Google hotels and come up with an average price. This is not the price. It's just a real indication of price, but you can even do it by date. That can give you, if you know the hotels already, and as you get to know the hotels, you'll also get an idea of what's good value and what's not good value. So if you do a quick search using the dates, you'll actually discover pretty quickly, you'll be able to find out if rooms are going to be quite limited or it's going to be a popular time because the prices will go up. If it's not, the prices will be down. If it's down, it gives you a really good opportunity to negotiate. Also, what happens with the internet? Okay, we live in this culture at the moment that the closer you get to the event date, the higher the price. If you think about airlines from that perspective, now when you're dealing with these events, you're often dealing 3 months out. Now, what that means to your carrot or your incentive that you're going to give the people attending the event, you have the potential to set a rate now for an event that's happening in 3 months. If you get this event in 2 weeks, the rates are already up. So you're going to be at a level here. But if you start 3 months earlier, the rates are going to be here when you set the price. Okay, so what happens is you're set here, booking.com goes like this above you. So they might be level at the time you get set, but afterwards their rate goes up to here and goes up to here. Now remember, who's setting the rate for booking.com? The hotel. Okay, but the hotel has set your rate here. So all of a sudden, this is how you get 10, 20, 30, 40% lower than booking.com, especially approaching. You do your work early. You negotiate early and you use these tools to give you a really good idea of where the best value is actually going to be found. Compare research to booking.com. Okay, this will give you the best indicator. Go into booking.com, do the same, do some research. You can even search hotels by budget. You can put in by popular filters and district and favorite areas and do this research beforehand. Chart it, all right? So what you want to do is also write down the hotels that you end up selecting and compare them to booking.com. Keep an eye on this. The hotels can be a bit cheeky. They're not necessarily doing it on purpose, but they're so focused on these other channels that all of a sudden, if they're offering a cheaper rate on their own website or they're offering a cheaper rate, it might even be all of a sudden for a day they just drop the rates for whatever reason. Make sure that you have an idea and you're tracking so that, as we'll look at later in your analytics, you can start to understand how you get bookings and then maybe they dip off. And it might have dipped off because of a particular reason. Maybe the reason they dipped off is because the hotel all of a sudden decided to fill a few more rooms and drop the rate for a couple of days before sticking it back up. So that's when you can then contact the hotel and go, hey, you just dropped the rate, give us a special. While you've got the rate low, give us a 3-day special. We'll put timing on it that people must book within the next 3 days, and we'll send that email out with the event organizer through their database to really give us a kick of bookings at that particular point. Does that make sense to everyone? I hope so. I hope so. It should be pretty straightforward. It's just you keeping an eye on your market. That's it, you know, and really being aware of what's going on so that you can make sure you get the best value and find the best hotel choices. TripAdvisor, as I said before, here's another really good way to search. So it's kind of like you're overlaying one website over another. Here's the same district on TripAdvisor. But what TripAdvisor does is give you something different. They give you the ratings. Look on the left-hand side. 921 reviews, 4 out of 5. 2,759 reviews, 3.5 out of 5. And as you get more experienced, you'll actually start to say, okay, well, look, the rates are the same. Both of those are $176 a night. One is 4 out of 5 and maybe in a better location, and the other one is 3.5. Maybe one or the other is going to be chosen by you. Maybe both of them seem like pretty good options. You've got 4 out of 5 below, but it's $298. So it's a lot more expensive. You know, so maybe you're better, you know, at the moment, M Social Singapore looks like pretty good value. But when we actually go and email, we might find that we can negotiate even better and get them down to 140 or something like that. So they're currently seen at 176, but through our closed private booking area specific to these guys, these organizers, these exhibitors, these competitors, we're showing $30 less a night. That's all you need. You know, plus they're going to get breakfast, plus they're going to get an upgrade, plus they've got a gym and an area that they can train in. It's a no-brainer when you're dealing with multiple people, as long as you then detail that effectively on your private booking area, then you're on a winner. Okay, and detailing it is something we'll cover in the next chapter in webinar, website, and how to create a private booking area. But I'm sure by now, hopefully by now, you can see how it's all starting to link together, and one thing affects the next thing. So it's kind of just getting into your thinking, getting this as a I guess, second nature, but really important. Use these facilities. These are all around you. These are free guides and indicators that you can use. Of course, here is the hotel's website. Okay, so you can now check with them. Check that you like the hotel. Check that you understand the facilities so you can come across as knowledgeable. And really get a bit of an idea. You know, don't avoid these things, understand them and know them. You know, the knowledge is the best thing so you can understand. So if someone says, oh, well, why don't I just book directly with the website? You can answer them. Why? Because we are $359 a night at Marina Bay Sands, not $379. Also, the hotel has given us blah, blah, blah. That's why. Why? Because we're booking 15, 20, 30 rooms, and their website's only set up for an individual coming through and booking one room. That's why. Okay. Contacting hotels, research. You need to go onto the hotel website, or there's lots of different ways. You need to find the direct hotel contact details or the sales department of the hotel. Okay, this the reservations department, maybe. It really depends on the size of the hotel. Generally, the reservations department in a hotel is given the rates by the revenue manager. Okay, the revenue manager is the person who sets all the rates for the hotel, and it's their job to make money out of food and beverage, rooms, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you talk to the reservations department generally, or if you've ever called Hilton Central Reservations, there's only so many options they have. They've been given those rates by the revenue manager. You cannot negotiate really with those people, okay? You need to speak to the sales department. The sales department are set up to bring business in. That's why they're called the sales department. They have to talk to you. Their job is to talk to you. Their job is to get and win business, multiple business that's not just suited just to an individual calling the reservations department. Call the sales department or call the revenue manager, either way. Once again, depends on the size of the hotel. Go to their website, but also call and ask the hotel, or even go to LinkedIn and find out who the contacts are. LinkedIn's a great resource because you can really find, and you can even message and build a relationship up with the sales department, the sales manager, the sales executives within that department. These are the guys you need to create as your connections with hotels. You need direct email addresses for the sales team. Why? Okay, because you're going to be negotiating rooms and rates directly with them, not the reservations department. You need their first dot last name. If you get general email addresses like general at, info at, sales at, reservations at, anything that you send them, and there is a natural, look, we're always trying to save ourselves time and take the easy road, okay? With this business, it's a little bit different. Take the slightly more detailed route because it will bring benefits to you. If you just send 20 emails off, okay, to info at, 19 of them will go into the spam folder and you will never get to your point of contact. It is worth just picking up the phone, saying, who is your sales manager? I'd like to send them some a booking request, please. Add them to your spreadsheet, okay? And we'll go through that in a minute. And we'll do a bulk email to them, or you can do a bulk email to them. I'll discuss that in a second. Don't do a bulk email from your Gmail inbox or you'll get busted and you'll probably get blacklisted and almost shut down because that's not what it's for. You've got to use a mail program, a bulk email program. You can work with Hotelstv at support level. We've got one that we can use. We'll discuss that with you through the technology stages of training, but don't just lob everything into your Gmail account under CC or BCC. You can do it for 4 or 5 at a time. That's generally all right, but if you're seen to be doing tens and tens and tens or hundreds of these, you will get blacklisted. They don't want you using them as a bulk email sending device. But yeah, as I said before, most of these will go into junk. They'll never get there. What you need also for professionalism and for your own database that you're building up of quality contacts, you want to know who the person is at the hotel that you need to speak to. So you can call them, just say, quickly, who's there? Let me send you some details of a booking we need to discuss. And then you've got that contact for life and they go into your emailing program, and then periodically you can send them information. It's a bit like how we built up a database of event organizers as well. So add them to your corporate client spreadsheet. So we've already given you this. This is in your Dropbox, in your materials. At the bottom, it says sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, okay? It's not my job to teach you how to use Excel on these types of devices, so go onto YouTube and learn how to do it. These are Microsoft tools that are available everywhere. But add another sheet to the bottom and call it hotels, and create a spreadsheet of hotel contacts. Put star rating, address, city, first name, last name, all the things that you need. Even detail the conversations by date. Put the date every time you talk to them and have a comments folder. Really, really valuable, because you can export that into a bulk emailing device, and you can also just really send them 20 or 30 of these contacts an email using these to save you a lot of running around once you get an event. Okay, RFP is what you would send. Once you've got your list of 10 or 20 hotels together, you'll send them an RFP. Now, an RFP is a request for proposal. Very simply put, it's detailing the event, so the hotel understands. Even if you called them and you spoke to the sales manager and said, hey, I'd like some rates, this is the event, the sales department would turn around and say to you, can you email me some further information? Because they want to be assured they have your contact details, assured there is actually an event there, and they want to know the details so they're not relying on scribbling down on a piece of paper and missing things. They're going to act on the precise detail and give you a quote of rates based on what you send them. RFP is the way to do it, and it's a lot easier for you. Remember, the hotels want your business. They're desperate for your business. So you go through the selection process like we've just been detailing. You then find 10 or 20 hotels that you actually would like to, you consider working with across all different categories from budget to luxury. Send them all these, follow up, send them all this RFP. Well, you can create this RFP just on an email. It doesn't, I use a CRM to do this. As I've always mentioned, I use Agile CRM at this point. Because it gives me the ability to create these templates within it, add the hotel sales department people and simply drop a tag into each one, which shoots out this email. And on the CRM, I can actually see if they've opened it or not. So for me, that's really valuable and time-saving technology, because I know they've seen it. So therefore, I can expect, without having to pick up the phone and go, hey, have you received the email? I can expect that they'll shoot me back a quote within a couple of hours or a few hours. Rarely does it take 24 hours to get a quote back. Normally pretty quick, because that's what they're there to do, jump on business. The RFP should explain that we are the exclusive agent. This is why I'm giving the details of the event. If we weren't the exclusive agent, I would not be giving them the details of my client. I'm only doing this because I'm confident we are the exclusive agent, because I have an agreement written, hence what we discussed in stage 1, in session 1. So detail it all. You're looking for a certain amount of rooms, certain amount of hotels, whatever it is that you want. I want 2-star, 4-star. I want rooms with single bed. I've got a group coming. They need single beds in it. Whatever it is, whatever your requirement is, you detail on this RFP and you send it out to them, and you ask that they come back to you as quickly as possible. You can also explain that we only select 4 or 5 or 6 hotels out of all the hotels that we're actually discussing this with. This builds the competitive aspect, makes sure they get their quotes back in quicker, and then they sharpen their pencil a little bit sharper in order to get you a better rate and put a little tempting thing in order to work with you. So we're using our leverage once again, and we're creating a bit of competitive advantage for ourselves and the clients that we actually represent to do that. It is a very, very effective way of getting the best rates. Even when we receive the quotes back and we're sifting through and we're working out which are the best hotels we want to work with, we want to narrow it down and have choice. Which is the best hotel? Which are the best facilities? Which hotel suits what my clients need? Does it have a gym? Does it have breakout rooms? These are the things that I'm reducing and funneling down into my perfect selection. And even when I get my perfect selection with my rates, I'll even call the hotels again and I'll keep negotiating. I will push them again to make sure they're getting us the best value until they go, no, we just can't do this anymore. And that's when I know I've got the best value for my client. And so when I turn around and go back to them, I can jump on them and go, this is the best rate. I know because I've spoken to John in the sales department, blah, blah, blah. So really, really important that you do that and you follow that structure because it's the best way to get the best rates. Also, we try and limit the star category, if we've got a 4-star or 5-star, to 1 or 2 hotels maximum per category. We want these hotels to receive business. In return for their great rates, we want them to get bookings. It's really important. It's also important for the next event that we do later on with these hotels that they know that we're going to produce business. So don't put 4 or 5 4-star hotels because it's just going to dilute the number of bookings that they actually get. So really, really important, no matter what category. Okay, in return, best rates, added value, rooms, specials. And what I mean by specials, we'll talk about this in a minute, but even when you get your rates, it doesn't stop you from getting interim rates or rates in the short term, as we discussed a little bit, and I'll go over in a minute. Last minute deal, advanced purchase rate, something only available for the next 3 days to plug a gap. This is activity. Activity is really important. It can double your bookings. Okay. Hotels will email you the agreement. So you don't have to write an agreement, generally speaking, 90% of the time. We receive an agreement that's been provided by the hotels, and I'll show you one of those in a minute, which actually details everything. Okay. Other points to discuss with the hotels after you've contacted them. Sorry, one of the other points I'll just go back to. Follow up with a phone call. You've sent them. Now's the time you need to talk to them. You need to talk to them because you want to build a relationship with them and make sure they understand what an opportunity this is for them. This is your opportunity to show them what an opportunity it is and make sure they really understand. Sometimes hotels will just tar us with the same brush. They'll just think we're just the same as everyone else. Oh, here's a rate, do your best. No. We need a little bit more specialist attention from them, and we need to show them why this is such a unique opportunity and have them work a little bit harder for us because we're getting them some great exposure. Okay, the other points to discuss when we've got them is that these events have 1,000 to 2,000 attendees, exhibitors, competitors attending whatever the event has. It has the potential to book multiple rooms, on average 10 to 50 bookings per event plus. All right, so we really want to make sure the hotels are aware of these points. We want to set rate for a specific period. We're not like booking.com that wants rates every day of the week all year and dynamic rates that move up and down every day. No. We're just dealing with 2 or 3 days out of the year that this event is going to take place. That's our focus. So we want a specific rate. Also, maybe a couple of days before the event and a couple of days after. So get the rate so that if people want to arrive a little bit earlier or stay a little bit longer, you have rates on the website that can provide them with the opportunity to book. And that just gives you opportunity to make more money out of commission. Okay, tell them about the exposure. They're being exposed to whatever it is. Find out. You can easily find out how many followers someone has on Facebook. So find out and actually relay that information. Become knowledgeable on your subject, especially if you're trying to, convince hotels that they need to give you an even better rate for whatever reason. The rates need to be the best rates, and the best rates plus added value, they need to be that. You can't have a hotel working at this level so closely with you and then publish a lower rate on their own website. it doesn't work because we don't know if the bookings they're getting, and they don't know if the bookings they're getting are actually through us. So what happens is, the guests naturally, what they do is they'll look on our website and they'll probably look at booking.com and they'll look at the hotel's website directly, not all the time, but sometimes. And they'll just compare and they'll just make sure they're making the right decision. If they go to the hotel's own website and they see that there is a lower rate, and remember, we're dealing in multiple rooms here, we're not just dealing like booking.com, then if they go and book, they're not necessarily going to announce themselves that they came through Hotelstv. So therefore, this hotel doesn't know. Whereas if the hotel knew that we were referring these, the hotels would protect our rates better because they know we're a viable channel. So sometimes you get this misnomer with the hotel. So it's important for you to police that and then go back to the hotel and say, yes, but you've got to understand that we could be referring people already, but we don't know because you put a lower rate on your website. So it doesn't happen that often because we're dealing in multiple rooms. But once again, it's something for you to watch. And sometimes doing analytics, which we'll go through in a minute, you can actually see a dip in the bookings, and that's why, because you're all of a sudden you've got leakage. Look for leaks is probably the best way to describe it. An attractive cancellation policy is quite important as well. So you can get a really good rate that's non-cancelable and non-refundable. But that might not appeal to a lot of your audience. Maybe half of them it does, half of them it doesn't. So make sure you've got maybe a couple of choices. You've got a really good deal that's non-cancelable, but you've also got a really good deal that is cancelable 14 days out or 48 hours before the arrival date. This can be the difference on your website for booking more rooms or not. It's not that people are going to cancel. It's just people may be unsure of their plans, or they just have like the reassurance that if their plans do change, they can cancel and they're not going to lose their money. Other people are quite confident that they're not going to cancel, and they'd rather take advantage of the further 15% off that they're going to get because it's non-cancelable. A lot of people have travel insurance as well. And if they did have to cancel for whatever reason, quite often the travel insurance would cover the cost of the hotel anyway. So even if they got a non-refundable booking deal, then they're not going to lose. They might lose it off their credit card, but they'll get it back from their credit card. Lots of credit cards actually have travel insurance on them as well. Once again, it's something just to get a little bit more familiar with, so that you can help customers and clients book. So if they call you directly, you can say, yeah, we've got a really good rate. If you've got travel insurance, okay, well, look, you're probably covered. Get the really good rate, get the non-cancelable deal, save yourself 15%, and if things go pear-shaped and you can't attend for whatever reason, claim it back through your travel insurance. So once again, knowledge is power. Okay, allocation of rooms. Here's an interesting point. How many rooms should I get? If I'm negotiating with a hotel, how many rooms do I want? I think as a guesstimate, I'm going to sell 50 rooms. So I'm going to do 50 bookings. I might do 100 bookings, 200 bookings, but I might not. I might do 10 bookings. So how do I satisfy the hotel about the rooms that we're going to get as well? So what you can do with the hotels is actually take less rooms at the start or negotiate a release date. A release date is, let's say I took 20 rooms off a hotel on a non-guaranteed basis because I'm 3 months out from the event. I'm going to say, look, I just want 5 rooms a night or 10 rooms a night or 20 rooms a night. Okay, and you can have them back 30 days out. So whatever I haven't sold goes back into the kitty. So hotels will do this, especially on multiple room bookings where they see potential. Now, if a hotel says, well, I'm too small, I can't give you 20 rooms a night, so offer over a 3-4 days, 80 room nights or whatever, they give you 20 rooms a night that you can sell automatically from the system, which means once it's put into our technology, confirmations go out instantly, the client books, because the hotel has told us that they're going to give us 20 rooms and has sent us an agreement saying you have 20 rooms a night, okay? But if you don't sell them 30 days prior to the date of arrival, we'll take them back and you don't have them anymore. But if you've sold 10 of them, we're only taking 10 rooms back. So that's great. So you can negotiate 5 or 10 rooms if they're concerned about the number of rooms. And then when you've sold those 5 rooms, go back to them and get 5 more. And then what happens is, you know, after that, if you want 5 more and the hotel's sold out, you go and get another hotel and add another hotel on. So this is where you can play around with the allocation of rooms as well and these release dates. Okay, so RFP replies, generally this is what an agreement with the hotel looks like. So it'll say, okay, a guaranteed block, and this is something we use for this BCLA event, the British Contact Lens Association event. We had 10 rooms that were guaranteed because we were booking them for the event organizers. So we knew they were guaranteed. In addition to that, we had a non-guaranteed block of 20 rooms per night over that period. So the hotel gave us a rate in deluxe rooms and premier rooms based on a non-guaranteed rate, which was still, I think it was about 30% lower than the market, which were excellent rates, and this hotel did quite well. The hotel will email the offers in an agreement form. You select and reduce to the best 4 to 6 hotels. You sign the agreement on non-guaranteed rooms, not guaranteed rooms. If you have guaranteed rooms to agree, you give that to whoever is booking those guaranteed rooms. Okay, so if the organizer is paying for the rooms and they've said, yeah, I've got my staff, I need 10 guaranteed rooms, fantastic, that's wonderful business. You're going to make yourself, you know, $500, $1,000, $2,000 just off the event organizer's own bookings. They sign the guaranteed agreement. You do not sign that. You don't sign any guaranteed agreements at all. Okay, you just hand that straight over. But what you do is you have a different agreement with the hotel already that says, and if you look in the fine print below, you're going to get 10% commission of all the bookings that take place. So you get an agreement which says, yes, you're going to get 10%, and then you get another agreement for the guaranteed rooms that you pass on to the event organizer that guarantees, but it doesn't talk about your commission. Hopefully that's fairly clear. Okay, so you ask the hotels to supply the hotel information to you in the images. You can get a lot of the images this is more when we go and create the private booking area in the next session, but whilst you're talking to them, you might as well ask them, how do I get some images that we can use on our page to help sell you best and promote you? So the hotels will actually send you those images and they'll send you some information about the hotel. Add the hotel, add the rates and availability then to the private booking area, and then you're up and running. Write descriptions with the event relevance. Now, what I mean by that is this all has to be relevant. What's relevant? So when you get a hotel description, don't just write, yeah, this is a lovely 4-star hotel, 5-star hotel in Singapore. It has a restaurant and a bar and blah, blah, blah. No, the way you would write that description is simply to add things like, this is a great hotel for the BCLA event in Singapore. Your transport connections are this. We've picked this because, you know, the concierge knows that you're arriving. They're going to be able to give you directions and organize some transport, and you're going to be 15 minutes walk to this great tourist attraction. So it becomes really focused, really relevant, and really means something to the guests that you're going to be booking. So when they go and read that, it actually says to them, someone's taken the time to get this information and someone has negotiated rates and they believe you and they trust you because they're not just reading a generic description of a hotel. Hopefully you get that. Let's move on to the next slide. So best rates versus best value, negotiating the best deals. Which is better, best rates or best value? Best rates are always very good, but I'm a fan of best value. because best rates might be great, but if they put you in a rubbish room, guests are going to be disappointed, or they're going to go, oh, now I understand why I got a good rate. I got a good rate because I got a rubbish room. So best value is often better. So you can sell that. So you say, yeah, we've got this rate. It's 10%, lower than booking.com, or 20%. I use these as benchmarks. I'm not trying to promote these. It's just everyone's familiar with them. So, this is better value because it's a higher grade room. You've got an executive room rather than the standard room, and you're still 10% less. So, I have the best rate, but I have the best value, and you get an airport transfer, and you get a bottle of wine in the room and a $20 voucher to spend in the restaurant. So what's better value? So that can be all the difference. It can also vary what better value is based on the size of the room, if it's got a fold-out bed or a sofa bed in it, especially if someone's traveling with kids, or they just want a bit of extra room. It might be adjoining rooms. That might be where the value is. The value is there's 2 people or 4 people traveling together and there's an adjoining room. A lot of hotels don't actually advertise the adjoining room on main booking sites. So it's something, they might only have a couple of them, something that needs to be requested. So research what's on the other sites as well, and also ask the hotels. If you ask the hotels, hey, where else are you promoting this? What rates are you offering? 9 times out of 10, those hotels will actually give you an answer. So it's a good way to do it. And as I said, sometimes it's a cancellation policy that wins the booking. That's a fairer cancellation policy that more suits their needs. It's not rate driven. I know a lot of people that, would pay more money for personalization, just to make sure they get the right room, and not trying to beat the hotel up. And sorry, the right experience as well, and not trying to beat the hotel up on price, because you want value. That's why, look, a lot of people tip people within the hotel when they first arrive. They give more money when they first arrive because they know they're going to get better service, and whatever they want through their stay, they're going to get. If you're the cheapest guest in the hotel, you're going to get the cheapest room and you're going to get the cheapest service, is what I always think anyway. So, get the best value. Okay, know your audience. What would you book in that situation? Put yourself in the shoes of these people. Like I told you last time, put yourself in the shoes of the event organizer. What would you want? What would you want if you're a guest? If you're the hotel, what would you want? What type of guests would you want? You want people who are part of a corporate event. You want people who will spend money in the hotel. This is the audience you've got to offer these people. So know your audience, because it'll help you sell, help you find the hotels, help you choose the right properties. If you've got a hotel and they have a spa and they have a gym, and you've got an audience that are going to use that, then that's good value. Not only do we have a great room, but we've got all these other facilities for free. Okay, that's built. If you just put them in a 2-star hotel without any facilities and they've got to go and join a gym, that's not good value. So know your audience and think about what you would book. Test the hotel as well. Test the water. Ask the hotels. Don't test the hotels. Test the water. Ask the hotels for a couple of different deals and put those deals on the site. See which ones get booked and then go with that one. It's a quick and easy way. Maybe it's an email campaign that you send with the event organizer to quickly sum up what deals are going to work best. And that is another way that you'll maximize your bookings. And we're not talking 1 or 2 bookings. You will double or triple the number of bookings you do, which doubles and triples your revenue based on how much research you do, how much you know your audience, and how relevant you make the whole experience for everyone. Okay? And the next step is to analyze this. How do you analyze? Okay, we'll do a lot more session on analytics. You actually have the ability to analyze with your Gmail Hotelstv account. And I'll show you how to work that out. And if you've been on the edit destination page, you'll see a UA box. That's actually for the analytics code for you to put in there so you can run your own set of analytics on every PBA that you create. And what it means is that here's some analytics here from the British Contact Lens Association. It might be a little bit small for you to see, but what it shows us is actually that there were 1,250 unique viewers who viewed 1,920 pages on the BCLA PBA. So they looked at the front page, they looked at the individual hotels. You can even see which hotels. So the most searched on hotels was the Park Hotel Alexandra in Singapore, which, guess what? That was the closest hotel to the venue. And that had 78 page views on it. The other interesting things you'll look at is the average time on the page. So the average time was higher in the most booked hotels. Okay, so for the audience that generally were booking at that particular stage, this is just a snippet in time. You know, the longer they spent on the page generally resulted in more bookings. The other interesting thing to look at is the bounce rate. So on the analytics page, you can see on average 36% of people that first came to the page left. Okay, so that means that 63+% of people that arrived stayed on that page. That's a really good stat. Why did they stay on the page? Because it was relevant to them. It was focused on exactly what they were looking for. This is also very good for Google, and Google will put you up the top of the search engines on anyone looking for hotels near this particular event. Google will see this. This is why they run an analytics. Okay, they will see that it's a very popular page for people attending the event. So anyone then going onto Google and searching hotels near that event, our pages will come up number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 in search results organically, which can also increase the number of bookings that you get. So as a comparison, the average website has a bounce rate of 50 to 60%. If they have 40% bounce rate, it's considered really good. So 36% is actually under the average. Look at the Fairmont Hotel link. They have an average, that's a 5-star hotel. They have an average of 25% bounce rate, which means 75% of people that went onto that really wanted that. And that's why we got a lot of bookings for the Fairmont, is because it was really relevant, but the audience was also looking for that for the British Contact Lens Association being a medical event. A lot of people that were professionals wanted to stay in a 5-star hotel that were coming across from the UK. Important to note, the conversion or the exchange rate was very, very good, which means that, you know, they, for £200 a night, they could actually stay in a 5-star hotel, which was really, really cheap if you compare to London or somewhere else. So know your audience. Okay, points for negotiating the best deals. Fix the rates. Okay, these might appear higher, as I said before, they might appear high or level at the start, but the closer you get to the event, you'll stay still and all the other websites go up and you have a massive advantage. Okay, Hotelstv rates are fixed and can end up 10 to 14% lower. You can also get deals from hotels during this period. Best available rates, it's also known as the BAR, best available rates. Fixed rates, last minute rates, advanced purchase rates. Last minute deals, pretty self-explanatory, but you might put a time limit on. Advanced purchase rate as well. Could be something like, you know, buy this now or book this now. It's available for the next 7 days. You pay for it at the time that you book it. It's lower than all the other rates. And it's non-cancelable and non-refundable. So that's a really good tempting offer as well, especially on a time limit, so that you can really work the crowd. You get the event organizer to send that out to their database, or you put it on the link, or you put it on the event's website, and this can really spur more bookings for those people in the market for that. Consider what activity you want to motivate and then be active. Okay, have a plan, that's all. Have a plan, and once you've done 1 or 2 events, it gets so much easier and it'll become second nature that you'll think, hey, how can I spur more bookings? Yes, I've got this event. I've got a link. I'm the exclusive event organizer. But what else can I do to use this audience? You know, there's an expression in business that it's much easier to make money out of your existing customers than it is to find new customers. So if you've got an existing customer, do your best to maximize the returns out of those customers. Rate management. All right. You know, hotels have many different ways of being able to send you rates and give you new rates. Direct via email is generally what we use for these types of things. Emails backwards and forwards. That's why we set you up a Hotelstv account, email, Gmail account, so you can use that for backward and forward, but you keep a record and a log and a history of your conversations and your contacts. Hotels can actually log into the Hotelstv system and they can manage their rates and availability, but we don't find that's often necessary because we have set rates over a period of time. Channel managers as well, SiteMinder and TravelClick, these allow hotels to manage the rates because when they fluctuate over a year, but we don't take rates off these hotels. You can do it, as we've said before, with Hotelstv. If you do want to have a website with hotels and rates all year round, that's great. The hotels will want to interact you with SiteMinder or TravelClick or another channel manager, possibly, that you could use also to do that. What's suitable for your event? I think that's the question. You know, most of the time it's just direct email because they're set rates, but you got to ask yourself, okay, what are you doing? You've got so many options with the Hotelstv platform, whether you want to offer rates all year or just for an event or to travel agents or, you know, to companies. You may want to work with a hotel with a channel manager and just feed rates specifically to a unique corporate audience. You have that potential to do that. So that's up to you, but you have to decide what is suitable for my event. Know the options, be wise. That's why we logged on to things like hotelmarketing.com and eHotelier last time. So you understood what the market's looking for, you understood where the opportunities are, and you can use your tools and all the bits and pieces that you have at your disposal to maximize your effectiveness, okay? Do not be intimidated by hotels. Something I really want to stress to you, that hotels want the business. So be polite, of course, you know, befriend these hotels, work with them, you know, get to know them, but you can push them as well and you can be cheeky with them. And they want the business. They are the ones that are desperate to get your business. So push, 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 okay, to make sure you get what you want. Don't put them, I often refer to them as putting them on a pedestal. Do not put them on a pedestal. They are really valuable to you, but you can push, push, push and get the best rates you can and the best added value and be as cheeky as you want to these people. Also realize, cheeky isn't being rude, by the way, that's two different things. Realize that the more eager they see that you are, okay, the more that they see that you're going to be out there in the marketplace bringing new business in the future to their hotel, just like their own sales team and their sales department. So let them see that with you and how you act. So be eager, push, 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 get deals, get last minute specials. If you've got an inquiry from an event or a company, even go back again directly to the hotel and even get a better rate offline. Not something you publish on your PDA, but something that you just give that customer. Really impress that customer that you're prepared to go the extra mile just for them. And that can be really, really valuable as winning that customer for future bookings. Okay, the different statuses of bookings within our system. I'm only going to go through this briefly with you now because we're going to do this in more detail once we set this up and show you bookings in the Hotelstv system in future sessions. But you can negotiate bookings on request. That means there is no availability given, but it's going to be checked by you at the time of the booking. This can be great. It's a very, very good weapon for you because none of these big websites offer this. The ability to book a very limited hotel at short notice, or maybe a very small hotel that isn't going to allocate lots of availability to anyone, you've got the ability to still list it on the website and have people book it, where you can then check at the time of booking, and then you can always go back and offer them an alternative if it's not available. But it is a way of spurring bookings into very limited properties. Like, for example, imagine a penthouse. There is only one in a hotel. So they're not going to be all over booking.com because it's too limited. They'll probably just try and sell it themselves. You can still sell it through your PBA or through your website on request. Very valuable. Available. In our system, available means automatic. The confirmation is automatically sent to the customer, it's sent to the hotel, and it's sent to you as the agent. So everyone gets it instantly because the availability has been put into the system. The same with allocation. It works the same way, but it works on a limited number of rooms. Once it hits that number of rooms, it stops and turns on request, actually, after that point. So it's really important that you keep an eye on that, and you can allocate a certain amount of rooms. What is suitable, once again, for your event? What's the hotel prepared to offer? These are questions you need to ask and you need to answer. Okay, your requirement and flexibility can positively or negatively affect your availability of rooms and rates. All right, in our booking system, you'll see that the different status of booking is actually detailed. And once again, we will go through this. You've got access to the system. You could do some pretend bookings if you've got no bookings in the system at the moment. You can actually create bookings, and you'll see that a different color for each status will actually come up through from a pending booking, confirmed, auto-confirmed, and so on, depending on the different stages of bookings. And we'll train you on that as we go along. You can see how that works. And the booking system also details the arrival date, the number of nights, the hotel, the type of room, and also the value. So you get to see exactly how much money is going into these hotels, how much you're contributing. And these were part of the bookings that went into the BCLA event that I was telling you before. So we're talking at least $21,000 worth of bookings, which delivers at least $2,000 in commission for that one event across a number of hotels. All right, we come to the end of this particular session. I hope you found it valuable. Okay, we're going to take some questions now. We've got a chat function on this webinar. We've got some questions that have come in, which is great. So any questions you've got on this, please drop them into that chat function. I'll answer them in a moment. Okay, so the takeaways from this really for you are that you should really know your audience. Okay, it's really, really important because that's going to shape and keep relevant everything else that you do after that point. And that's a really important selling point for the hotels, for the event organizers, for the type of event, and ultimately to dictate the revenue that you want to earn out of your business. If you just want to do small budget events, then you're going to get budget commission returns. If you want to do more high scale upmarket, not necessarily much larger, but you know, work towards audiences that are going to require 4- and 5-star hotels, then it's pretty simple that you're going to make more money that way. Or volume, you know, one's volume or quality. You know, once again, that depends on you and what your niche is and what your focus on the market is. And that's something we run through in your one-to-one sessions. Select suitable hotels. RFP direct sales departments of the hotels. Collect those sales departments also on LinkedIn as friends and things like that. Really, really valuable to you. And it shows that, you know, as you build up those contacts, that you're a valuable player in the market. Explain the unique opportunity to these hotels. It's very important that you can sell that benefit of working with us. Even though the hotels are really eager, it's going to work even more for you. Get an agreement and get the best value with the hotels. Add specials. Activity, be active. The more active you are through that, even after you've contracted the event, the more active you are, the more bookings you're going to make. Simple. More money you're going to make. Consider rooms and cancellation policies, which will create more bookings for you. Measure and work your analytics as well. Knowledge is power. Know what's going on. Don't be blind. Have an idea what's going on in the market. Have an idea of how your rates compare. Have an idea of how well the link is working. That's the other thing, is the link working? We'll do this when we go through more of the technology and linking it to the events website next session. But make sure the event organizer is linking it correctly for you in the right place. Otherwise, it's not valuable to you. So they've got to put that link in the right place, and we'll go through that as well. Build relationships with the hotels. Hotels want bookings. Be cheeky, be funny, build a quality relationship with them for years to come. It will serve you well for every single event that you do and every booking that you do. All right. Q&A session. Okay, we've got a message here. One of the questions is, how about youth houses or hostels? Absolutely. Once again, it comes down to the event that you're working on. If your event or your market is a youth hostel market, then get youth hostels on. Boats, apartments, houses. It's up to you and up to this is a booking platform. It's a platform for you to build a booking business. So if your event is based around, a budget accommodation market, then absolutely, you've got to match your accommodation. It doesn't mean shabby though, and it doesn't mean horrible rat-infested, cockroach-infested properties. What it means is value for money. Is it good value in its category? Would I put my family or my friends in that hotel if they're in that budget category? Would I feel comfortable and secure doing that? That's a question you need to ask yourself. And doing a bit of research helps that. The guest must pay online or paying at the hotel reception. So the guest pays at the time of booking on our website. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The guest uses their credit card at the time of booking, but they don't necessarily pay. Okay, there are two types of bookings. One can be prepaid, one can be post-paid. Okay, post-pay is what we generally do. Post-pay means book online using a credit card, but pay when they get to the hotel. The credit card is used as a guarantee of arrival, which is why the cancellation policy is important. So usually there's a one-night penalty if the guest does not arrive or they cancel too late. The hotel can take a one-night penalty from that credit card, or whatever the terms are. Okay, the terms of booking are what you get on that contract from the hotel. You have to write that on the website so that the hotels can exercise whatever the terms are that everyone agrees to. A prepaid booking could be an advance purchase pay booking, whereas they've got a really good deal, but the hotel is going to take the money off the credit card at the time of the booking. Hotelstv do not take payment ever, unless in special circumstances a group wants to pay to a particular bank account, and then that needs to be passed on. We can arrange that. You need to arrange that at head office level, but generally we do not take the payment. That's the whole purpose, is to just facilitate that through to the hotels, and it gives better security to the guests as well. Hope that's quite clear for you. Hope you understand that. Thanks for those questions. They're really good questions. What do we mean by CNX? CNX is cancellation policy. So a cancellation, on average, if you stay at a hotel, the cancellation would be 24, 48, 72 hours, or maybe 2 p.m. on the day of arrival at some hotels. That's a cancellation policy. It means you can cancel up to that point without incurring any charges. If you cancel within that time, you'll get a one-night penalty generally. When we're dealing better rates, multiple room rates, group rates, the cancellation policy is usually a bit longer, and that gives us better rates. So we've got to manage the length of the cancellation policy with the type of discount that we're getting. So the longer the cancellation policy, the lower the rate on average. But that's what it means. As well as bounce rate, what other key analytics are there? Yeah, good question. Look, I think click-throughs are a really key indicator, and your own bookings are a really key indicator. So if you're getting a high amount of click-throughs from the analytics, and let's just click back to the analytics page for this. So if you look at your bookings, number of bookings in the booking system, and you see, yeah, we've got a good amount of bookings and we've got a pretty high click rate, you can generally work out that this is performing well. If you're not getting many bookings for that particular hotel, but you're getting high click rates, so this from Google Analytics is measuring the link between the event organizer's website or possibly organic search in Google for people typing in hotels near the event. But generally they're directly from the event's own website through to the PBA, through to the private booking area. This is basically telling you the activity. If you're getting a high click rate through to the hotel's pages or to the PBA, but they're not converting, then it may be telling you that you don't have the right product on there. So your hotels might be 3-star and they should be 5-star, or they might be 5-star and they really should be cheaper. Or you may find there's some leakage and the hotel or booking.com have a cheaper rate. So then you're not keeping an eye on the market, and therefore you need to keep an eye on that market. What it can also tell you, okay, is if you're not getting 50, 60, 70 click-throughs and you've got a really good link, the other thing it might tell you if you're not getting many click-throughs is that your link on the event's website may not be very good, or the event organizer may not be promoting you very well. So you might need to re-motivate them to send the mail shots out to spur that activity. You know, all these are indicators of activity. Then it might be that if you're only getting 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 clicks, you're not getting many bookings because there's not that much activity coming through. What you may find is that that event is not a particularly busy event as well. So if the event themselves is struggling to sell their own tickets and they've got a small amount of people that are clicking through, then there's only going to be a small amount of people clicking for hotels, and then that's going to reduce the amount of bookings that you're going to be doing, and so on. So this is where your research is really important. Look back at previous years. How popular was that event? And you can even put an event website into, you know, there's one called Alexa, okay, ALEXA.com. And you can actually put a website into Alexa and see how popular that website is. So if you take the organizer's own website and put it into Alexa before you even contract them, you can actually see if it peaks and if it's quite a popular website. It doesn't always work that way because some events only create a website new for that particular event. But there are tools out there if you really, really wanted to dig into your metrics and your research. There are ways of really targeting the more active events so that you're more assured of more activity and more clicks and more links and more bookings as a result. So provided you're doing your job and motivating the event organizer, the links are looking good on the events page, and you've got some good hotel deals that are not going to be leaked, or your clients are not going to be leaked out because, you know, some hotels drop their rate or booking.com's cheaper, then you should have everything in place to have a beautiful funnel that funnels people through into bookings for you. And then if you just top it up with the odd special rate from the hotels, such as a last-minute deal, then you're going to double and triple your bookings as a result of that. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, is it an easy business is one of the questions. Well, like anything, it's understanding the nature of this business. Okay, so no, this isn't a business where you just go, oh, there's a hotel, come through and book. No, you've got to work a little bit harder, but it's not difficult. It's just making sure the right pieces of the puzzle are in play together. So each step, number one, is find the right event. Number two is get the right hotels on. Number three is build the PBA or the booking system to reflect what you've just done. And number four is manage the bookings that come through. But like anything, there are certain ways to do this. And this training is designed to really drill down so that you can fine tune your market and squeeze every last possible booking out of that. This training is also designed so you can pause it and replay it over again as much as you need until you get it. Because quite a lot of people coming into this are new, so this is a lot of information they need to take in. But actually, once you start doing it in practice, you'll find that it's pretty straightforward. Hopefully, logic. You can see the logic that is within the processes that we do. But don't be afraid to replay these and watch these time and time again. I think that's a really important thing to do. Okay, so we come to the end of our Q&A session. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. They're really great questions, great involvement. We've had some people, some of our agents all over the world tune in for this. Hopefully you've found it really valuable. There is so much more detail we can go into, and what we do is we reserve that for your one-to-one sessions. So make sure you're booking up those one-to-one sessions. Go back to your welcome email. There's a link on those welcome emails where you can go and book a session, and then we can really drill down and fine tune your own business to make sure you're on track and you're getting all this. But please replay these time and time again. I think what you're going to find is you're going to pick up other things every single time you play them. So these are not made to be played just once. They're made to be played over and over and slowed down and just concentrated on particular screens that you need. Sometimes they're proactive, sometimes they're used reactively. And remember all the other resources we have on the how-to guides under the admin system, and also in your Dropboxes, you've got 5 or 6 different folders that really break down and have a video attached of how to do each particular session. So the combination of this was something that will get more simple or more intrinsic as time goes on. All right, next training session we have comes up next week, and it's all about the website and creating effective private booking areas. So hopefully you can see this building. You know, week 1 was clients, week 2 is hotels, week 3 is putting it all together on the PBA, creating the website. That's really important. And the week after that will then be, okay, how do we market that? And how do we link that? And how do we get the most out of our bookings? But hopefully you can see it all culminating here. And then we go on to managing bookings and then repeating that process with every single thing that we do. And then how do we find more business? Once we've got this machine working, how do we get more elements, more customers, more clients into the machine that we're creating? And then how do we use technology to help us manage that machine? And then once we've done that, we talk about great things, lots of stories, lots of successes, and you graduate. And then you move into our program where we've got lots of one-to-ones and support, but also monthly webinars on what's happening in the industry. So next week, It's all on the website. Please tune in for it. As soon as we end this broadcast, you should see a screen that allows you to register for the next webinar. I would love you guys to do that. We will send out reminders, but as soon as you stop this broadcast, the next screen will allow you to register. Okay, if you don't see it, we will send out more information so that you can register. We have recorded this as well, so all being well, we will also distribute a copy of this to you, and it will be available under the training section on our YouTube channel. So thank you once again for joining us. Happy booking, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.
There's on the bottom. 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 Oh, there's on the bottom.